So what if I told you that we have a lunar eclipse just 3 days before Halloween? For my spooky season enthusiasts, you're probably hype. For those of you who have had heavy experiences in eclipse season before the solar eclipse, you may be feeling a little more hesitant. Eclipse seasons do one thing that most human beings hate, and that is challenging the human ego. Not only that, but when it comes to the lunar eclipse, this is a challenge on people's emotional world. How are you relating to your greater spirituality? Are you in contact with your higher source, your spirit guides, or anything beyond the realm that you can normally see? Well, I have the transit for you. On October 28th, on the lunar eclipse in Taurus, we're going to be facing an upheaval of the world that we may be used to, and we're going to be entering into this reality that is deeper connected to our soul's intention. And why is this eclipse happening in the first place? On July 17th of 2023, we had the North Node and South Node switch signs. As a matter of fact, the North Node was just in Taurus not too long ago. Which brings me to a theory that I have about this lunar eclipse in Taurus. Think back to around 2020. What plans did you initially have that got abrupted due to the shutdown? I think this lunar eclipse in Taurus is going to be a callback to a lot of those situations and events that you initially planned in the first place. What this eclipse season is doing is that it's trying to align you back into building your own reality the way that you want it to. And not to go as far as to say maybe you didn't have the wisdom before a few years back while the North Node was in Taurus. Or maybe you had the wisdom, but you didn't have the courage to actually put those things into motion. With this eclipse happening at 5 degrees, which is the degree of eroticism, this is having you step into situations and events where you're gonna have to show up as your full, true self. And when you do, you're going to be establishing your talents, skills, and capabilities in a way that you've never had before. Let's talk a little bit more about Taurus though, so you can get the theme that this big full moon is going to be changing in our lives. Taurus is a sign of fixed earth. Hence why we usually consider them very stubborn. But then again, if nature wasn't as stubborn as it was, we as a society would probably be pretty screwed. Taurus has this uncanny connection to nature and the process of growing things over time that most of us don't intrinsically have. As a matter of fact, Taurus's big motif is slow and steady wins the race. Another aspect of Taurus that we often forget is that they're the ones that are the most connected to the 5 senses. Now I hear you, I don't have Taurus in my chart. If you have Taurus in your sun, moon, and rising, this is going to apply much more for you. And for those of you who are a little advanced, look at what house Taurus is in for you. Besides the point, this lunar eclipse is having us shift the in-between of what we desire with that sun in Scorpio, and also what do we need to let go of so we can actually attract the things that we want to achieve. This eclipse reminds me of this really big cliche that's in the art world. And because I'm a nerd, I love gear. I love microphone types. I love camera types. I look and study the intricacies between them all. What creates this tone? What creates this picture? How do we get this lovely thing looking like film? To me, love it. Now, one thing about this whole gear situation is that most people say that it's not about the gear, it's about the person who's behind the gear, which in a lot of cases is very true. If you're trying to buy the most expensive thing possible and have no idea how to go about the basics, you're probably not going to make something that's super wonderful. And on the flip end, if you know exactly what you're doing and you have so many little tools that you can use and figure things out, you'll probably have a better output, right? And this is what this eclipse is trying to bring out and show you. You might not need the most expensive thing in the world in order for you to really get the result. But this is also showing you that you shouldn't cheap out on yourself just because of that same process. This lunar eclipse is trying to show you that in between materialism and the things you actually need in order for you to create that fulfillment in your life. Do you really need those $1,000 shoes? Or can you spend that same $1,000 building your business instead? Did you need to eat at that 5-star restaurant, or could you have catered something different and had a meal with a bunch of people that you enjoy and love? Now, granted, these are some silly-esque examples just to get your brain going, but how is this showing up for you? Another thing to mention when it comes to this lunar eclipse, that we have Mercury and Mars with the conjunction in Scorpio. So people are going to really be digging into not just themselves, but honestly into the other people that are around them. And this could be on a psychology level, or because it's on a degree of eroticism, this could have multiple meanings, respectfully. Anyway, this axis between Taurus and Scorpio going on is to change your relationship of manifestation and choose to pick the consistency that it actually takes in order for you to conquer your dreams. And that's why during this eclipse season, it is literally best to let go and let the universe. If you push your ego in the driver's seat for this lunar eclipse, chances are the things you're aiming for aren't gonna happen quite the way you imagine. However, when you lean onto your intuition, and remember that Jupiter is on the moon during this time frame, Jupiter, the planet of luck and experience, is trying to guide you in your reality through your 5 senses in order for you to find the best expansion and abundance catered to you specifically. What parts of your ego do you have to sacrifice for the greater good of your own destiny? If you know that thing is bad for you, stop it. Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
No, but in reality, this is best to really only gear yourself towards things that end up giving you a soul resonance. And if it doesn't suit your soul, please, how do I become a part of this? And for those of you who want full insight on this lunar eclipse in Taurus, I advise that you end up checking out my ceremony that we're having on October 26th at 6 p.m. PST, where I will be breaking down how this eclipse is impacting every zodiac sign. And you get to join in on a beautiful spiritual community who's really trying to tap into the secrets of these upcoming shifts. To be completely transparent, I'm still a little bit tired from this last solar eclipse we had. And in the vein of Taurus, I'm probably gonna stop this and go take a nap for a bit. But the last thing to mention is, how are you going to show up for the beauty that you want to put into your world? And are you willing to make the sacrifice and surrender to what spirit knows is best for you? Don't let greed or power corrupt the soul's essence of endless abundance that it wants to show you. Yes, the world is crazy and things are pretty bad in overall scale, but how do you forge your own world within this reality that suits all of your inherent desires? Just don't forget to fall in love with the process, and the alchemy is yours for the making. Have a lovely day and stay blessed. Much love as always.